Provost Awards for Excellence honor our faculty members' outstanding contributions to the university, their disciplines, and their students. These professors represent the very best of Cal Poly Pomona's teacher-scholar model. I would like to recognize our 2014 honorees. Professor Allison Baker for excellence in teaching, Professor Dan Hostetler for excellence in service, and Professor Angel Valdez for excellence in scholarly and creative activities.
The English is a very applicable, sounds trite, but it helps you develop a set of skills that are applicable in a lot of different contexts, and my students are constantly reminding me how important that is to them.
Watching her in a classroom is like watching a very good orchestra conductor. She is able to manage all of various personalities and learning styles in a very, very effective way. She's very, very good at what she does.
Dr. Baker brings an unparalleled enthusiasm to her classrooms. To have somebody or know somebody who has that kind of passion for what they're teaching or interested in is really inspiring, and it makes you think that you can do whatever you want to be able to do.
She's also someone who gets them to think outside the box. She's creative in her thinking. She encourages them to develop that facet of their particular personalities, and I think she's much respected and much admired by the students for all of those things.
What I hope my students come to see is that the stories that they learn and love and live, these are relevant because we still have the same problems that people had 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago. Some of the stuff I teach is very old. We still are most concerned about living and dying and falling in love and raising our kids and doing the right thing and being good people and being productive.
When we're reading texts like Beowulf, Dr. Baker has this really great way of relating some of the people and what they're doing with the people in pop culture or in the current news. And to know that the people in these texts are basically the same and are doing the same things that we are today, it's a really interesting way to look at literature.
So she also cares about her students. She really wants them to learn, and so she does everything she needs to make them appreciate and give them a glimpse into a world that's gone.
I begin and end with students, and the fact that students wrote letters for me to get an award means that I must be doing something right. And that is enough to keep me going for another 20 years at least.
Being involved hands-on, learn by doing, I think that's one of the best ways you can teach somebody is not only to talk about it, but to actually have them do it. People can utilize the land, the nursery, the agriscapes, the farm store, things like that. Those are all opportunities.
What I learned from Dan is long-term vision takes time and patience. And it doesn't happen overnight, but you have to be persistent and consistent in striving toward your goal. And Dan is one of the best people I know that represents that challenge. And he works very hard to make things succeed. And if you look around, that's why Agriscapes and the college is really doing as well as it is today, because of what his efforts were.
Students are number one. That's why we're here. They're our customers. Helping them in any way, shape, form, fashion. And oftentimes that's not Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. That's Saturday from 10 to 12.
Dan's a role model, I think, for both his faculty and for the students. The students saw a guy who worked really hard. Most of his students, worked full-time jobs. Dan really recognized this and made his total effort to be sure that those kids would stay in school and graduate with their diploma at the end.
Thanks to him, I was able to get out of college debt-free. I mean, I was working full-time, going to school full-time, but all those scholarships that I got awarded, I probably accumulated somewhere between 15,000. And it was all thanks to him pushing me to go forward for them and showing me what opportunities were out there.
I keep going back to the students. I love seeing students be successful at the end. That's where I get the most satisfaction. It's a little note that I get back from a student after they've been gone 3 years. That's more rewarding to me than anything else I've done. And I see so many of them, in such neat careers, and they're going to be the leaders of this industry in the future.
If you want to be a good teacher, you have to create new knowledge and bring that knowledge into the classroom. And at the same time, to be a good scientist, you have to be able to teach. So I think the two elements are very important, and they're two sides of the same coin.
He's tremendously focused on advancing the careers of his mentees. So he's very conscious about making sure that their work gets published in a timely manner. His students have the opportunity to travel internationally, to collect specimens, to access museum collections, and to work with Angel's colleagues.
I encourage my students to be active in obtaining their own research. So they apply to different funding sources, and my students have been very successful.
And I think that Angel measures his own success by the success of those who he has mentored. And I think that, in turn, their contributions to the field will really be his most enduring legacy.
There's no way that I would have been able to go to a PhD program straight out of my undergrad. This experience in the master's program with Dr. Valdez has been completely invaluable.
Angel has also named hundreds of species, and one of the kind of cool things about working in this field is a well-described species is a name that will last forever.
It's the ultimate goal of science, is to create new knowledge and distribute this knowledge among the community, and you do that through publication.
I think he was pretty much born to do this, to be a researcher, a professor. That's resulted in 150 plus publications.
I really think that he embodies the goals of the CSU as a teaching and mentoring focused institution that also emphasizes excellence in scholarly work. It's a really, really hard balance to strike, and I think Angel's been extremely successful at doing that.